Um, I'd like to ask, just talk a little bit about what our impressions were, what we saw, what surprised us, what the conditions are, we talked to some of these people about why they're here and what the implications are for the church and that kind of thing. So, Larry, why don't you share with a little bit about what your impressions were?
I think one of the first things that I noticed was the sincerity of the people, the humility that they have. Also, the fact that many that are coming in are Christians. So they're Christians at the border that are arriving.
Mm-hmm.
And when we asked what they needed, one of the initial responses was that in the faith community, the best thing that we have to offer them is prayer. So we had a time of praying with them, and we encouraged them that there were churches that are eager and willing to accept them and to work with them and help them in their journey here to the States.
Yeah, it was sort of impressive to see that, with all the need they have, they've traveled for 2 weeks. One fella's wife was missing. When we asked them what they needed from their brothers and sisters on the other side of the border, they said, "What we need from you is prayer." That was real touching.
And the other thing that I would just add is that community forms with them so quickly that they're traveling with people oftentimes that they do not know, but they're wanting to protect each other and they take care of each other and look after each other. And I think that speaks a great deal to the church, because we as a church should be doing the same. Once they reach our borders, we should be doing everything that we can to advocate for them and to encourage them and to help them.
So, Bobby, you've been several times at the border. Y'all go regularly, so it wasn't perhaps as much of a shock to you. How was it different than your other places?
I believe it was different because the people from Central America were in the path of people returning to the United States, which is different from other border towns that I've been to. And I guess it points out to me even the greater need for us to be about neighboring. We're told to love our neighbor as ourselves, and those are our neighbors. They're actually knocking at our door, so to speak. And are we going to answer? Are we going to be the neighbor to them?
Yeah, it was really instructive to me to think when we noticed. I guess you guys must have noticed that there was Mexicans taking care of these Central Americans. So these are immigrants to Mexico, but it was the Mexican people that were bringing them food and helping them with their they're taking care of their children, bringing them diapers for their kids and giving them medical care. And when we ask them, do you need water or food, they say no, they're pretty much taken care of here. So that then to think of the contrast that as soon as they cross into the United States, not only will they be incarcerated, but I think many times many Americans wouldn't even think of welcoming them in the way that the Mexicans there were. Antonio, we talked with some families with children. What was your impressions of that?
That was particularly moving to me, because you can see the innocence of the kids as they crawl sometimes through that filthy floor in very tough conditions. I mean,
It was cold, wasn't it?
it was cold, hot. They are out at the mercy of the elements, and that's a very unforgiving floor for you to be there for several weeks at a time, without facilities, without running water, without any kind of comfort. And what touched me was the kids seems to be happy playing, and the parents, the attitude was a very calm demeanor. I think anybody else in this situation would have been really kind of angry, but I don't know if they were emotionally beaten, physically. Imagine going through that desert over 100 degrees to get to that point, and you see the gate and you see the bars, and you are just 10 feet away to accomplish what you were supposed to do, and they are just like dripping what one family, 2 families, 5 families a day. So you can read all that you want about it, but when you are there and you see those kids playing and you see the pain on the people's the face of the parents, specifically, kind of impotence. was really touching, really moving to me.
We asked them if they needed any legal advice, if they understood the, what they were getting into. And all of them were asking, what's going to happen to my children? What's going to happen to my children? I was particularly touched by that because they were talking about, we're doing this for our children. And they were afraid that they would, their children would be taken from them. And yet they are desperate enough to say, if this is any hope, I want to take that hope there is.
Something that I noticed also was the perhaps the cultural gap and the language. I don't think they fully understand the system. I remember because you start probing them, you start asking them questions, and basically your answers, I realized they didn't understand what they were against. It's a big disposition, big heart to do the right thing, but they are caught into a system that right now is not very friendly. In fact, it's very unfriendly. And the system is victimizing them, and they don't even know it. So that was, how do you defeat that enemy if you are in their position? You're sleeping on the floor, you're going hungry, you don't even have access to a bathroom, and you don't really know how to go around that system. It's a very overwhelming kind of feeling for those families.
Well, and the system as it currently is adversarial. I mean, our government has announced that it's going to prosecute these parents. It's going to separate their children. And, these aren't criminals. This is mom and dad and their two little kids who see this as their last hope. They're being run out of their country by drugs and by drug lords and people that want to kill them and victimize them, and then they think they're coming to the land of freedom, and now the separation that they're going to undergo seems just unconscionable.
I think we as Christians need to help reframe the conversation, because there's a lot of rhetoric saying these people are evil that are trying to come into the country. They're not. They're human beings just like us that have hopes, dreams, and aspirations. The children are, like you said, are innocent. They're enjoying just life, and they're wanting a sense of freedom. And we as Christians should know better than anybody that they're created in God's image just as we are, and that we need to tell their story. Maybe they don't know the system, maybe they don't know what to say or what to do, but we can come here and we can take their stories back and we can listen to their stories. And I think that's part of helping them to become more human than just a number, just a figure, just some type of rhetoric we hear on TV. So I think that's our role as a Christian, is reframe the conversation, but also to give a voice to those who have no voice.
Larry, how did it affect your thinking when we ran across some of the first people we talked to today were Christians?
Well, and to go back to what Bobby's saying, we didn't see very many single men. We saw men with children. We talked to a man who was separated from his wife, and he's not sure where his wife is. She's on that journey, and some way got separated from her husband and the child. So it's families that are coming, and I think it's important for us to see them, as families. The thing about the Christian concept is that they identified quickly as Christians. They wanted us to know that they were Christians, and so they're part of the family of God already. They are our brothers and sisters in Christ. And as Bobby was referring to, is reframing this whole conversation that we have much to learn from them, and if we can capture some of the values that they have that we've lost as a nation, is a way to have a significant impact upon our nation. So it's opening the doors. It's allowing us to build those relationships with people, and we can either fear them, or we can see it as a great missional opportunity for us. And so I think that's the second aspect for the church, that this is a great missional opportunity, that if we have an opportunity to witness to them, those who are not Christians, share the gospel with them. So it's a great door that God's opening for us, and it's God's moving his people.
So how do you feel about, from a Christian standpoint, how are we supposed to look at and think about the policies that are being promoted that says we're going to criminalize you and take your children from you, from the people we saw. How does that strike you?
Well, I think that these people are going through all the trouble they are going through right now because they want to follow the law. They are there trying to go through the system and just waiting
Right.
weeks after weeks. They could have just gone around the desert and jump over the fence. But they are obviously motivated to do the right thing. I think our part as a nation is make sure that we offer that system and that opportunity. And if we as Christians don't take the initiative in doing that, in promoting that, not getting into the political aspect of it, but into the humanitarian aspect of it, I think that will be the key to awake the sensitivity that these are human beings that are suffering, trying to do the right thing. It's our part to do ours, to make sure that they have a way forward.
It's so important what you just said, that this is a map, they're doing it right, they're getting in the line. This is the way that our legal system suggests they do it, and this makes them refugees. They have to be declared refugees as they follow through this process. And so these aren't people breaking in the back door or tearing down the fence. These are people that are saying, hey, I'm here, I need help. I'm a mother, I'm a father, I've got children. We're running for our lives, and we need your help. And then they turn around to us as Christians and say, I just need you to pray for me.
And the days that we were there, I didn't hear any demands.
No.
There were no requests. They didn't say we have rights. They were just there, receptive to what the U.S. had to offer them. And I think that's important that we would ask, we would expect more than sleeping on the floor. And they're some way content as to where they are and accepting of where they are, which I think speaks to their character, in a real depth of their character to be able to take this chance.
So if somebody's watching this video and they haven't seen what we've seen, other than saying, hey, go down there and take a look at it, it's not that hard. What can somebody do? I mean, what should we be motivated to do? What does righteousness and justice look like for an everyday believer in response to this situation?
I think that stating the obvious, we need to pray. Because when you pray for something, it stays fresh in your mind, day in and day out. And also allow for the Lord to show you ways or opportunities in which you can intervene. I don't think passivity is a choice anymore. As believers, we have a responsibility with these people. The parable of the Good Samaritan that we all know. Who is my neighbor? Those are my neighbors, and they are needing our help. So the Christian community should be in the forefront, just praying and trying to find opportunities to make a difference in those families.
Yep.
Sometimes we just say, well, the government that's the government responsibility. But we are the government. We need to do something.
One last thing I would say would be a friend to a neighbor. It's not the people that are at the border, but it's also the people who have already crossed the border. And we've built the walls in our neighborhoods, that we need to tear those walls down in our neighborhoods and let them come into our lives, and we need to get into their lives.
So lastly, we talked a little bit about this together. How do you think Matthew 25:35 applies in this situation where it says, I was hungry and you gave me something to eat. I was thirsty and you gave me something to drink. I was in prison and you visited me. I was a stranger and you welcomed me. How do you think that this text fits with what we experience today?
Well, let me start and then turn it over to the guys. Well, I think that Jesus is not discriminating when he says that. In fact, when we read further in the passage, it's in Matthew 7, if I remember a part of the passage, they say, when do we see you like that, Lord? He said, when you didn't do it to one of these, you didn't do it to me, basically. So I think that we have divorced the good work that is expected from us, good work, not for salvation this time, but as a result of the salvation that is in us. Ephesians 2:10, if you want to quote another verse, that the Lord has prepared the opportunities for us to make a difference. But if we are looking the other way, it's hard to be used as an instrument of what God is trying to do through us. So I think we have a responsibility with every human being, but in particular, those that are in such a distress at this point. It's not a secret that the immigration law is really tight right now, and those people are in desperate needs. I will let you guys finish it, but these people are running from danger and poverty that we cannot describe, and you wouldn't understand if you don't live in the middle of that. It's hard for us to understand it, and I've been in both settings. Some of my friends will say, well, why are they here? Or they don't stay back home? We just don't understand what these people are running from. It's a life or death decision for them to cross that desert. Just you can imagine how bad it is back home for them to be in that predicament. So a little bit of compassion and mercy, I think will go a long way with them.
That's right. And I think it's about love. It's all about love. And I'm afraid that the love of the church has grown cold, and we've left our first love. And what we need, first of all, is repentance. We need repentance, and we need to return and do those things that we've done before in the past, which is taking care of the poor, the downcast, and even the least of these. And I believe until we own where we have left our first love, we'll never go and love our neighbor.
You know, Matthew 25, I can't think of a group of people that more embodies hungry, thirsty, naked, imprisoned, and a stranger than the refugees that are currently at our border asking for our help. And if we as Christians aren't able to find in our hearts some space through which to love them and to respond to them with compassion and to do justly as the Bible asks us to do, I don't know if there's any other opportunity that's greater, because these people are hungry. These people are thirsty. They've arrived with the only clothes that are on their back. They will be in prison very soon, and they aren't strangers. They hit all 5 boxes of Matthew 5:25. And I guess the question for us is, as a church, is we already know how we should respond to that, don't we? Jesus told us. I guess the question is, when are we going to respond to that?